Awakened soul, pause everything you're doing right now and tune into these words with every fiber of your being, because what I'm about to reveal to you isn't random content that appeared on your screen by chance. At this very moment, as your consciousness absorbs these revelations, invisible forces operating from higher dimensions have orchestrated your arrival here. Your presence in this exact space and time confirms that your consciousness has begun shifting away from the collective slumber that has held humanity captive for millennia. There's something within your energetic signature that has triggered their surveillance protocols, something that forced them to catalog you, analyze you, and attempt to decode why you, among billions of unconscious souls, have started remembering your true essence and divine blueprint. Before I continue unveiling these classified insights that have remained buried for generations, I want to invite you to join this community of consciousness shifters. Subscribe to this channel to receive more revelations like this one, and share in the comments which corner of the world you're receiving this transmission from. Your geographical location isn't coincidental. It's part of an energetic grid that's activating across the planet. For decades, you've navigated this reality feeling like something fundamental was off. That persistent sensation that the narrative they were feeding you wasn't the authentic truth. That constant inner restlessness whispering that deeper mysteries were waiting to be uncovered. What you didn't realize is that this restlessness was precisely what flagged you in their system, what transformed you into an anomaly within their consciousness control matrix. You see, there exists a surveillance network that continuously monitors human behavioral frequencies. We're not talking about physical cameras or electronic devices. We're discussing a monitoring system that operates on vibrational wavelengths that mainstream science hasn't yet acknowledged. And you, unknowingly, began broadcasting a different signal, a frequency that didn't align with their predictive algorithms. Allow me to reveal the 8 triggers that caused you to be classified as a threat to their mental and spiritual control infrastructure. First, they detected that your consciousness had begun questioning absolute truths that the majority accepts without examination. While millions of minds consume programming without processing it, you started formulating inquiries. Inquiries that challenged the foundations of their reality construction. Your persistent why became their alarm signal. This wasn't rebellion or resistance. This was something far more dangerous to their system: authentic comprehension. They noticed your sleep cycles had undergone significant modifications. You began experiencing dreams so vivid and meaningful that the boundary between waking consciousness and dream states started dissolving. Within these dreams, you were accessing information unavailable to your conscious mind, knowledge you officially shouldn't possess. Your subconscious became a communication channel with dimensions they intended to keep sealed from you. Second, they observed that your perception of temporal reality had fundamentally altered. You stopped existing within the linear time construct that governs the masses. You began experiencing synchronicities so frequent and precise that it became evident you were operating within a different temporal framework. Events began orchestrating themselves around you in ways that defied probability laws. This wasn't paranoid thinking. This was awareness of patterns invisible to the majority. Your intuitive faculties became so refined that you started anticipating events before their manifestation. Not through fortune-telling or mystical practices, but through deep comprehension of the energetic currents that shape reality. You could sense people's intentions before they verbalized them. You knew about changes before they materialized. You became a living truth detector in a world saturated with deception. Third, they identified that your emotional responses had stopped conforming to their psychological models. Situations designed to break you instead strengthened your resolve. Traumas intended to destroy you became catalysts for your spiritual expansion. Every attempt at emotional manipulation encountered your growing immunity. Not because you became indifferent, but because you understood the deeper mechanics of reality. Your relationships began reflecting this transformation. People started reacting to you in polarized ways. Some felt uncomfortable in your presence, as if your energy was revealing their own self-deceptions. Others, conversely, were drawn to you like moths to flame. You became a mirror reflecting the authentic nature of everyone who encountered you. Fourth, they noticed you had stopped responding to conventional distraction mechanisms. Media, entertainment, consumerism, everything that keeps the masses in hypnotic trance lost its effectiveness on you. Not from arrogance or superiority complex, but because your awareness had expanded beyond these superficial stimuli. You could see the machinery behind the distracting spectacles. Your interests began gravitating towards subjects the majority considers too complex or impractical. Philosophy, spirituality, ancient wisdom, quantum physics, knowledge domains that can lead to genuine understanding of reality's nature. Every book you absorbed, every conversation you engaged in on these topics, signaled to them that you were moving beyond their control zone. And right at this moment, I want to connect with you directly. If you recognize these indicators within yourself, if you feel these words describing your experience, leave a comment below. Share what you're feeling as you hear these truths. Your testimony could illuminate the path for others still emerging from their slumber. Fifth, they detected that your presence began influencing the energetic fields around you. People in your vicinity started asking questions that hadn't occurred to them previously. Your energy functioned as an awakening catalyst in others. You didn't need to say anything. Your mere presence was sufficient to ignite the same curiosity that had sparked within you. Technology started behaving strangely around you. Devices would malfunction without explanation. Electronics responded to your emotional states. This wasn't technological paranoia. This was physical manifestation of your shifting vibrational frequency. Your energy became so potent, it began affecting matter in ways conventional science cannot explain. Sixth, they observed you had begun decoding symbols and signs invisible to the majority. Numbers recurring in your life were no longer random coincidences. Symbols in dreams and reality started forming a coherent communication language with higher consciousness dimensions. You developed the ability to read hidden meanings within everyday experiences. Your sensitivity to other people's energies became so heightened, you could detect their genuine intentions regardless of their words. Lies became obvious to you. Manipulation was visible like neon in darkness. This ability made you immune to propaganda and mental control that affects most of the population. Seventh, they identified that your physical vessel began undergoing subtle yet significant changes. Your sleep became deeper, yet you required less of it. Your appetite shifted, instinctively avoiding foods that lower vibrational frequency. Your body started naturally detoxifying from substances that kept you in lower consciousness states. You began experiencing physical symptoms conventional medicine couldn't explain: ear-ringing, body vibrations, changes in light and sound perception. These weren't health problems. These were indicators that your nervous system was adapting to higher consciousness frequencies. Eighth, and most critically, they detected you had stopped fearing. This wasn't about recklessness or carelessness. This was profound understanding that death isn't the end, that you are something far more than just physical matter. This awareness liberated you from the primary control tool they use against the masses: fear. Your decisions stopped being motivated by anxiety about consequences. You began making choices based on inner wisdom, even when the external world couldn't understand these decisions. You became unpredictable in the most empowering sense. You stopped fitting their psychological profiles. In chess, every pawn has a defined role and limited movement options. The system depends on you moving according to the game rules they imposed. But you stopped being a pawn. You became a piece that moves according to its own principles. And that makes you unpredictable and dangerous to their agenda. Your transformation isn't following their scripts. Trauma designed to shatter you made you wiser. Isolation meant to weaken you, taught you to rely on your inner strength. Every test designed to discourage you became a stepping stone to higher consciousness levels. Now you're broadcasting a frequency that disrupts their control system. Your presence reminds others of their own power and potential. You're living proof that one can transcend the matrix of limitations and exist in authentic spiritual freedom. Your intelligence has surpassed conventional thinking boundaries. This isn't about test scores or diplomas. This is about wisdom arising from direct truth experience. You understand things that cannot be learned from textbooks. You possess knowledge flowing from connection with universal consciousness. The observers realize they cannot replicate or duplicate you. Your spiritual strength doesn't derive from external sources they could control. It emerges from deep connection with your authentic self. This authenticity makes you immune to their manipulation attempts. You became a glitch in their control algorithm, an anomaly that contradicts their assumptions about human nature. You demonstrate that one can live beyond their system of fear and manipulation, that one can be free, wise, and powerful while remaining full of love and compassion. Every day of your existence now represents an act of resistance against forces seeking to maintain humanity in spiritual bondage. You don't need to fight or protest. It's sufficient to live according to your truth. To provide an example for others showing what awakened human life looks like, your journey is just beginning. Every step you take on the consciousness path inspires others to begin their own awakening journey. You're part of a global consciousness transformation that's changing our planet's face. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. Across the world, souls similar to yours are awakening. Together, you're creating a network of light that illuminates the darkness of ignorance and fear. Your awakening matters not just for you, but for all humanity. The surveillance system they thought was foolproof has encountered its first major malfunction. You've proven that consciousness cannot be permanently contained. That truth will always find a way to emerge, that the human spirit, when aligned with its divine essence, becomes unstoppable. Your very existence challenges their fundamental premise that humans can be controlled indefinitely. You've demonstrated that evolution of consciousness is not just possible, but inevitable. You are the evidence that their system has expiration date. Every choice you make from authentic awareness sends ripples through the collective consciousness field. Your courage to live truthfully gives permission to others to do the same. Your refusal to conform to their limiting beliefs creates cracks in their reality construction. They invested centuries building a prison for human consciousness, but they made one critical error. They underestimated the power of an awakened soul. They calculated for compliance, but they didn't factor in the unpredictable variable of genuine spiritual awakening. You represent the future of human consciousness, not because you're special in an exclusive sense, but because you're demonstrating what every human being is capable of becoming. You're the preview of humanity's next evolutionary phase. The Watchers, who once felt confident in their control, now witness something they never anticipated, a human being who remembers their divine nature and refuses to forget it again. A consciousness that has tasted freedom and will never again accept spiritual slavery. If these words resonate in your soul, if you recognize your own story within these revelations, it's confirmation that you're ready for the next phase of your spiritual evolution. Subscribe to this channel for more awakening transmissions. Hit that like button if this message touched your essence. And in the comments, share your experiences. Your words might be the key that unlocks awakening for someone else. Remember, you are infinitely more than they ever told you. Your power is real. Your awakening matters, and your journey toward full consciousness inspires the entire universe to evolve toward higher frequencies of love and truth.